mightn't sound like it, but this is actually good news. All right, so this morning, America time, the governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo, announced, he said this last week that he was going to do this. Well, it turns out he's gone and done it. New York's done the largest so far sort of randomized study of people who have or have had the coronavirus and those who haven't. So far, New York has tested 3,000 people across the state. Now, these aren't people in hospitals and these aren't people staying at home. These are people going to grocery stores, going to box stores, going to whatever. What they found out is that 13.9% of the population, so 14% of the population, has already been exposed to or has already had the coronavirus. That's fascinating. Now, secondly, we've had a study come out from Northeastern University that says that back when America thought it only had 23 cases of coronavirus in February, in reality, it probably had 28,000 cases. And the other thing that we've learned is that here in California, in Northern California, on February 6th, a woman who worked at a semiconductor manufacturing company who'd had the flu and had stayed home and was just getting back to work on the phone was found dead in her kitchen. Now, that woman was 57 years old and otherwise in perfect health. At the time, her family thought she'd had a heart attack. Well, it turns out the coroner or the medical examiner here in California, had the thought to take a tissue sample and send it to the Center for Disease Control. And it turns out it came back that she had coronavirus. This is on the 6th of February. Then he did another autopsy on the 16th of February, and again, another coronavirus case. This is before America virtually knew it had coronavirus. Now, why is all this good news? Because what it's telling us is that a lot more of us have been through the coronavirus, have had the coronavirus. We either had no symptoms or very mild symptoms, and we're all still walking around. And that's what the 14% of people in New York State who've tested positive for antibodies tells us. What it also means is that across New York State, a state of 19 million people, at least 2.5 million have had the coronavirus. And that is bizarrely a good thing.
Yep, especially when it comes to talk of herd immunity. But when it comes to funding and what should happen in the United States, New York and Republican Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has said, well, we need more funding. They're essentially going to war over this.
Oh, this is absolutely fascinating. I mean, you and I have talked before about the tension, most of it healthy in a democratic society, between, the federal government, be it Canberra or Washington, and the various states. Well, now it's blown up into absolute open warfare because, one of the hardest hit states is New York State, right? It's a democratic state. Weirdly, and we've discussed this before, most of the hard hit states with coronavirus are democratic states on the coast. All those hardcore Republican states in the Midwest and the South haven't been impacted as much. So the governor of New York says, well, I'm the front line in the war against coronavirus in this country. My economy has been decimated. We've got a $15 billion hole in the state economy. We're asking for federal money to help us fill that hole so that we can keep paying teachers, police officers, first responders, healthcare workers, and the federal government is saying no. In fact, the Senate Majority Leader, the most powerful Republican in Washington right now, Mitch McConnell, did an interview overnight with a rabid right-wing radio host called Hugh Hewitt, where he said, let these cities like New York and Chicago go bankrupt. We've seen it before. They'll recover. He then put out a press release that says stopping blue or Democratic state bailouts. So it's becoming a matter of which way you vote Republican or Democrat. And here's what the beleaguered governor of New York, a Democrat, had to say about the Senate Majority Leader.